This is probably one of the most hated teenagers in Mississippi right now. This video is of 14-year-old Carly Gregg just moments before she took her mother's life in cold blood. This story is incredibly disturbing, and it's every parent's worst nightmare, and is a shocking crime. Like, what would make a 14-year-old girl want to harm her parents this way? Well, here's what we know. Reminder, I tell a lot of dark true crime stories on this channel, so viewer discretion is advised, but follow along if you want to hear more. So this is Carly Gregg. Carly's parents got divorced when she was really young, and it was a very bitter divorce. Carly's mother, Ashley Smiley, said that she was scared of Carly's father, which could be why she had security cameras in the home and kept a loaded firearm in the house. So Carly is exceptionally smart. So smart she skipped the 3rd grade, she got a 30 on her ACT, and she won awards for being such an outstanding student. But she started showing signs of anxiety and depression when she started 7th grade. She started medication for those things, but she also started to dabble in illegal substances, mainly plants. She also became rebellious. She would sneak out at night, she had a secret boyfriend, and her journal entries became disturbing. She wrote how it's okay to be evil and how she didn't need a family. So let's talk about the day that Carly made a bunch of terrible decisions. On March 19th, 2024, Carly Gregg and her mother, Ashley Smiley, returned home from school. Carly's mother, Ashley, suspected that Carly could have some illegal substances or vapes, so she decided to search her room for the contraband. It's at this point that Carly goes to her bedroom to confront her mother. Then she passes the kitchen where the security camera is and goes into her parents' bedroom and grabs her mother's loaded revolver. She then walks past the kitchen again, very noticeably hiding something behind her back. Then she walks back into her bedroom and fires at her mother 3 times, and it winds up taking her life. Then she goes back to the kitchen, puts something down, and texts her stepdad, posing as her mother, asking, "When are you coming home, honey?" Then she texts a friend asking for her to come over because it's an emergency. When her friend arrived, she asked if she was squeamish around dead bodies, and then proceeds to show her young friend her mother's lifeless body. She then told her friend that she intends to take her stepfather's life. She said, and I quote, "I got 3 in my mom, and the other 3 are for my stepdad." She told her friend she should wait outside, and she grabbed the security camera and put it in the fridge. When her stepdad got home, he was greeted by Carly with a weapon in his face. He managed to wrestle the weapon out of her hands, but he did get hit in the shoulder. So her stepfather promptly called 911, and it is an absolutely heartbreaking thing to listen to. He is incredibly distressed because not only is he injured in the shoulder, but he saw his wife's lifeless body in the house, and he was just attacked and betrayed by his stepdaughter. Carly was caught about 30 minutes after the 911 call was made, and she was arrested, and she said this.
So go ahead and tell him. All right. Is my stepdad okay? I don't know, baby. I can't talk to you about it.
She was charged as an adult for murder, attempted murder, and tampering with evidence. The prosecution offered her a plea deal in which she pled guilty in exchange for 40 years in prison. Her and her team did not accept this. They instead went the route of pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. Her defense team claimed that she had bipolar II disorder and she was having a mental health crisis that day, that her significant mood swings were made worse by her medication, she was hearing voices, having dissociative problems, and that she didn't know the difference between right and wrong at the time of the crime. There are a few things that subvert this claim, though. For one, Carly met with many mental health care professionals who evaluated her and claimed that she did not meet the criteria for an insanity defense. But what really cinched it was the video footage, because Carly clearly had the wherewithal to keep the weapon concealed behind her back, because she knew that she could get in trouble if she was caught on camera with that. Which pretty clearly demonstrates that you know the difference between right and wrong. The jury agreed with that assessment, and they deliberated for only an hour, and they found her guilty on all 3 counts. And at only 15 years old, Carly Gregg was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. These stories are difficult, but they're important to tell. Carly's mother and stepfather loved her very much, and by all accounts they had a good relationship with her. As someone who struggles with mental health disorders, I understand it's an invisible illness and it makes life incredibly difficult. I also want to say that while mental health diagnoses will offer an explanation, it's never an excuse to harm anybody. Carly Gregg had her whole life ahead of her, and in the heat of the moment, she made a rash and catastrophic decision that ruined so many people's lives, including her own. And she will have the rest of her life to reflect on that in prison.